Imagine signing an $80,000 loan for a 2026 pickup truck. Those payments cover heated steering wheels, massage seats, and millions of lines of code. And this is where it gets worse. Because a single failed module instantly turns that massive investment into a driveway paperweight. Specialized computer diagnostics will drain hundreds of dollars from your account before a mechanic even touches a wrench, while a middle-class worker in a 40-year-old rust bucket drives past you, getting the job done and keeping all their money. Automakers quietly shifted the financial burden of vehicle complexity directly onto everyday people. Today, we are examining 10 legendary trucks that expose this modern financial trap. What nobody expected was that abandoning mechanical simplicity for fragile technology would force the working class to pay the ultimate price. Manufacturers slowly realized they could market trucks as pampered luxury vehicles rather than indispensable tools, sparking an economic shift that took decades to escalate. That changed when we look back at the GMC Sierra Grande, which General Motors built from 1973 to 1987 with a completely different industrial mindset. Positioning GMC as their professional-grade division required engineering that actually backed up the claim. Factory assembly lines equipped these trucks with heavier-duty suspensions, oversized cooling systems, and stronger rear axles as standard equipment. The result was a truck that flat-out refused to quit. For the everyday worker, this profound financial protection meant a 40-year-old Sierra Grande still starts every morning without fail. Owners rely on a steady income unbothered by sudden software updates and recalls, which means they avoid the catastrophic repair bills that routinely pull modern trucks off the road and drain household savings. Between 1,961 and 1,980, the International Harvester Scout made the contrast between honest capability and expensive complexity glaringly apparent. Commercial farm equipment rolled out of their factories instead of consumer electronics. Dropping a 345 cubic inch V8, originally designed for medium-duty trucks and tractors, into a family vehicle became their defining engineering choice. Operating without computers or complex emission systems granted regular people total independence from expensive dealership service centers. And that's when 300,000 miles regularly passed on the odometer without these engines requiring a single rebuild. When parts finally gave out, any local mechanic with basic hand tools fixed the issue immediately. Today, working families absorb massive repair bills simply because diagnosing a check engine light on a modern SUV requires a computer science degree. None of that mattered back then, because uncompromised simplicity allowed the Scout to protect its owner's wallet for decades. Financial protection followed a similar pattern with the Jeep Gladiator, providing steady service from 1963 to 1987. Modern manufacturers constantly force costly redesigns to chase lifestyle trends. But here's the thing. Jeep chose to build essentially the exact same truck for a quarter of a century. Engineers specified a fully boxed frame design stronger than most one-ton trucks, pairing it with purely mechanical Dana axles front and rear. Flat panels and exposed bolts dominated the body design, which meant rust, repair, and body damage straightforwardly resolved themselves inside a basic home garage. Denting the complex curves and integrated sensor structures of a 2026 truck guarantees insurance claims and repair costs that will devastate a family's monthly budget. Doing more with less ultimately allowed the Gladiator to establish a reliable economic foundation for its owner. Production of the Ford F-Series between 1,948 and 1,952 laid the permanent foundation for American automotive reliability. Weight savings and lifestyle statements meant nothing to a company focused entirely on building an honest tool. And that's when utilizing thick steel bodies and massive ladder frames alongside a simple 239 cubic inch flathead V8 allowed Ford to eliminate the failure points plaguing modern vehicles. Complex valve trains and overhead valves vanished, leaving just a solid block of iron under the hood. 6-volt simplicity powered the electrical system without a single electronic module dragging it down. The result was this staggering durability, generating a financial reality where multi-generational reliability meant a working family only purchased a truck once, which meant avoiding the relentless cycle of depreciation and predatory auto loans kept money firmly in their own pockets. Peak American automotive design achieved a perfect balance of simplicity and capability when the Chevrolet K10 rolled off the line in 1967. Automakers still expected vehicles to last during this era, and that meant factory workers built them to survive decades of abuse. But here's the thing. An all-steel body, combined with a spacious engine bay logically laid out for the owner, created the true genius behind the C10. Showing owners exactly how to adjust valves and set timing right inside the official manual deeply empowered the working class. Accessible engineering encouraged owners to maintain their own vehicles, resulting in zero reliance on premium-rate dealership labor. Thick paint and tight panel gaps surrounded a 250 cubic inch inline six that operated as a practically bulletproof mechanism. What nobody expected was that 50 years later, these daily drivers would actively shield their owners from the crushing debt crushing the modern auto market. Chevrolet extended this heavy-duty philosophy directly to the SUV market with the K5 Blazer from 1973 to 1991. Utilizing the exact same overbuilt work truck platform allowed the K5 to house the legendary 350 small block V8. Avoiding computers until the very end of production guaranteed that every single component remained strictly mechanical. Middle-class families looking at the K5 today see a lost economic reality, representing the concept that a vehicle could remain repairable indefinitely. And this is where it gets worse for modern buyers, because replacing entire proprietary modules during a modern pickup breakdown frequently turns a simple malfunction into a $1,000 crisis. Armed with pure determination and basic tools, owners kept the Blazer running forever, which meant an unexpected breakdown rarely caused a missed rent or mortgage payment because the repair costs stayed predictably low. Vehicles born from wartime necessity pushed industrial-grade protection to its absolute peak, perfectly illustrated by the Dodge Power Wagon sold between 1,946 and 1,968. Dodge essentially repurposed a military design engineered to survive artillery bombardments and offered it directly to farmers and laborers. Including a factory 7,300-pound capacity winch alongside massive frame rails and a cast-iron transfer case offered unprecedented value. Generating only 94 horsepower, the 230 cubic inch flathead 6 still managed to run on terrible fuel while starting easily in extreme temperatures. The result was military-grade over-engineering, creating an unstoppable workhorse that fundamentally changed the financial equation for everyday workers. And that's when thousands of aftermarket dollars stayed in the bank because the truck rolled off the lot fully capable of doing its job. Buyers secured an upfront capital investment that remained honest and entirely permanent. Ford engineers adopted this exact same no-compromise approach between 1,967 and 1,977 with the F250 Highboy. Marketing teams never treated this machine as a lifestyle vehicle, but here's the thing. Massive frames designed to handle severe four-wheel drive stress joined forces with legendary Dana 44 or Dana 60 front axles. Industrial components defined the entire build, including an available 460 big block engine operating entirely unstressed. A C6 automatic transmission normally found in dump trucks and motorhomes delivered the power to the wheels, which meant overbuilding these parts to handle centuries of abuse completely insulated the consumer from catastrophic driveline failures. Modern contractors often lose their business when an $80,000 truck drops a fragile transmission, but the Highboy owner just keeps working. Heavy loads disappear into the bed without a second thought. Pure engineering excellence rarely demonstrates such massive economic power as the Toyota Hilux, which ran production lines from 1968 to 1995. Rejecting the American pursuit of raw horsepower allowed Toyota to focus entirely on absolute survivability. And that's when engineers built the 22R four-cylinder engine using timing chains instead of belts, adding oversized cooling systems and heavy-duty head gaskets to create massive safety margins. Relentlessly pursuing reliability produced a truck that famously survived drowning, fire, and a drop from a building crane. Regular people across the globe experienced a profound financial impact from this durability. The Hilux operated as the ultimate insurance policy in environments where a breakdown triggered severe economic ruin. None of that mattered because documenting over 500,000 miles completely erased the modern concept of a 5-year vehicle lifespan, keeping tens of thousands of dollars in replacement costs out of dealership pockets. Honest mechanical engineering reached its culmination with the Chevrolet K10, leaving assembly lines from 1,973 until 1987. General Motors hit the absolute sweet spot of truck manufacturing by combining a fully boxed frame up front with channels in the rear. Owners could easily access every single component inside the massive engine bay. Mechanical transfer cases and manual hubs controlled the four-wheel drive system without a single sensor or electronic module waiting to fail, which meant gears and steel handled the entire workload. Building essentially the same truck for 14 straight years created an unmatched aftermarket support system, and the result was undeniable financial independence for the working class. Driving through rural America today reveals K10 still earning their keep after 40 years on the job. Representing the final generation before electronics took over, these trucks stand as physical proof that building something right provides a lifetime of financial stability.